So the plan today is to be able to add and subtract polynomials. Now, if you remember from last week, we were looking at adding and subtracting monomials, and you would have problems that looked kind of like this, okay? And the idea was to do two things. The first was to combine all of your like terms, and the second was to get it into standard form. The goal today is very similar, it's just going to be a little bit different. So let's just walk through this really quickly so you can see it, and then we'll jump into what the actual problems for today are going to look like. So 3x squared, we want to combine that with all of our like terms. Remember, like terms have the same variables and the same exponents. So 3x squared, we've got another negative 5x squared. Notice that negative. So 3 minus 5 will give me a negative 2x squared. When adding or subtracting, the exponents are not going to change. We've got a 2x, and that looks like my only x. Then a plus 3. And that will be all the terms. So this is all of those monomials added together. Notice that it's also in standard form. We start with our x squared, then our x, and then there isn't an x. It's called a constant when there's no variable. Okay? So that is what we have already done. Today will be just a little bit different because there what we had was a whole bunch of one terms. We had like kind of one big polynomial that we were combining together. Today what we're going to see are two polynomials, and we're going to group them together by parentheses. So inside these parentheticals, we're going to have two polynomials. So we have polynomial A and polynomial B. Polynomial 1, polynomial 2. The first one, we've got two polynomials. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing here. Because everything is addition or subtraction, the first step is to kind of get rid of these parentheses. Okay? We don't need them anymore because everything inside of it is already combined. Everything is as simple as it can be. Now, if we had like a 4x plus 6x, maybe we would combine those first because they're in parentheses, and you should do that. But once everything is already as combined and simplified as it can possibly be, we don't need them anymore. We can start putting things together. So now this is exactly like the problem that we just saw. 4x, and we're adding a 7x. So we're going to get 11x. 6 minus 8 will give me a minus 2. Okay? So that's what we're shooting at today. Now, this is really straightforward because we were adding. I need to sneeze. Sorry. I'm probably not going to edit that out. All right. Because it's addition, it's really straightforward. And we just keep all the signs. We just add the 7x to subtract the 8. It's a little trickier once we get into subtraction. So let me do a subtraction problem for you as well. So again, we're in parentheses. I'm going to make the problem just a little bit bigger this time. Don't freak out because things are big. It's not a bad thing. Okay? So we're going to look at these. The first thing that we're going to kind of look at is what I talked about before. Are they both as simplified as they can be? 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. I've got no like terms in there. So they are. That's as simple as I can get. Over here, 2x squared plus 6x minus 5. I know you can't see that great, but 2x squared plus 6x minus 5. That's as simplified as that can be as well. So we're going to get rid of this parentheses over. Okay? But something important to note is we are subtracting over here. So it's true that we're going to continue to subtract a 2x squared. We're also going to subtract then a 6x. But we'd be subtracting a negative 5. So we actually end up adding that. Because remember, if you subtract a negative, you're adding. So what we've done here is because this was a positive 2x squared, it's become a negative 2x squared. So what happens when you subtract is whatever you are subtracting, you end up flipping all the signs. Okay? So it was a 2x squared, now it's negative. It was a positive 6x, now we're subtracting. Was it minus 5, now it's a plus 5. So we flipped everything. And you only do that if it's subtraction. If it's addition, you will not do that. So that's important to remember. Subtraction functions just a little bit differently than addition. Okay? Now, we combine our like terms, and we know how to do that. This is just a really big version of what we were doing last week. So 3x squared will combine with this negative 2x squared. I'm going to cross things out as I go, just because that will help me remember things. 3 minus 2 is 1, so we have an x squared, or a 1x squared. I would not put the 1 in there, just because it's easier to write x squared, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure I remember to put the 1x squared as an optional answer for everything. So I would just stick with the x squared. We've got a positive 4x minus 6x. 4 minus 6 will give me a negative 2x, and negative 3 plus 5 will give me a positive 2. Cross those out, and I've combined everything. So there is my final answer. So that's what we're shooting for today, be able to both add and subtract polynomials. There is one tricky question where it has like a polynomial plus a polynomial plus a polynomial. Combine the first two, and then whatever your answer is, add the third term onto that. It's kind of like saying what's 4 plus 3 plus 7. Do 4 plus 3 and then add 7 onto that. Okay? Same kind of deal. Just combine the first two, and then whatever your answer is there, combine that with the third. And that's what we are looking at today. The homework should already be attached right below this video. If you are done with this, then skip on over to the video, and I will see you in class.